Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
And today we're going to do a few things, but namely, I need to see, just drop Big Apple,
Yep.
the Spider-Man Far From Home, or No Way Home, trailer. I'm just going to take that back. I look stupid. Because I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, but you look retarded. Okay, so No Way Home. Man, so, wait, hold on. Just for my sake, the trilogy, name them. Homecoming?
Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home.
So what's the fourth one going to be? Finally Home?
Maybe.
All right. Homeless? No. Should have been this one.
Right.
No, all right. Let's take it back. All right, for all this time, Damien. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. Come on, Big Apple. No, it's all good. I'll keep it rolling. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
And we got a lot going on today. But first things first, we have a Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. I haven't seen it yet. You have, correct?
Yeah, I've seen it.
All right, but that's all right. You're going to see it again, Big Apple, because it's that good, I think. Hopefully. You know, no spoilers. We're just going to get right into it. You ready, Big Apple?
I'm ready.
Let's roll this stuff. Damn. I mean, hello there. Wow. Dude, why is there a PlayStation ad after that? Get out of my face, Sony. Dude, what? There's so much to talk about. First of all, can I just say... Thank you, Big Apple. You're good. No, first of all, like we knew a lot about a lot of this. I mean, well, okay, people like you and me who follow a lot of the trades, and we're like, okay, we need to know every little detail. Like we hear about the leaks, we hear about this, we hear about that. So like, okay, Alfred Molina, awesome seeing it like in person or whatever, like on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But we knew like he was coming. Was that OG? That wasn't Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, was that?
I think it might be.
Might have been, right?
Yeah.
Sounded very similar.
Yeah, and then the what is it, the bomb?
The bomb, obviously, yeah. Come on now, that was straight out of Raimi's, first Spider-Man. So okay, for sure. So, oh my God, there's so much to go through. But I'm geeking out. But listen, what I wanted to say off the bat was it was nice to see, so how casually he just strolled into the like Sanctum Sanctorum, and it's like we're finally at that point where Marvel's just like no, like this universe is like it's like a shared universe is what I'm trying to say here.
Right,
you know what I mean? And even more so in this movie, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think it's hilarious how Peter literally screws up like the multiverse just by running his mouth during a spell.
Yeah, it was really funny.
What were your initial reactions when you first saw it?
I thought it was really cool that they're gonna go into the multiverse.
Finally. All right. This movie is gonna be jam packed, but like people are going to be asking, you think any sort of Miles Morales shoehorn at the end or like...
Oh, man, maybe. I mean, there's a possibility we could see like an animated version. Like, because they're still doing the sequel, right?
That's true, they are. And I don't know exactly...
that one.
I mean, they led into what that might be about with the whole like after credits teaser or mid credits teaser or whatever, like Spider-Man 99 or whatever. I forget.
Right.
I forget exactly.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaacs. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they might have their own entirely... separate plot going on in that movie, and then there might be some splash between that one and this one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this one's plate's already really full between like all the prior properties. I mean, allegedly Tobey Maguire and maybe you think Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
So both of them for sure. You think, right?
I think so. I mean, it
sounds like they're pulling out all the stops.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're already gonna bring in Electro. Some version.
Yeah, some sort of version
with
Jamie
Foxx.
He's reprising his role, right? But in a slightly different. You said slightly different backstory or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
well, there was a hint of him possibly with the lightning earlier in the trailer.
Correct.
But it was yellow, and so I think it might be like slightly altered version of him, not exact.
Right. Yeah, man. There's so much to go through. But initial impressions. Oh my God, I haven't been that excited for a movie in a minute. I mean, the hype is real, Big Apple. The hype is real. So damn, yeah. That's any other small things that we missed? Hold on. Why is the Sanctum Sanctorum? Was that snow that it was covered in?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's being released during Christmas, so maybe it's like
maybe the hole's still in the roof from when Hulk
smashed it. Maybe.
That would be some pretty lazy follow-up work on Strange's part, but whatever. And Wong, let's talk about Wong real quick. Packing up his bags, don't do that. Don't be naughty, Strange, and just like goes through a portal to. I made a joke, but I was assuming Shang-Chi because I'm pretty sure we saw him in that trailer, right? Or what's the timeline? You think? Where's Wong?
Right, because he was
fighting the Abomination, right?
Yeah, he was in the cage with him, right?
Yeah. So is like Wong like going off on his own adventure, like presumably, and like to stop at the abomination? Like what's Wong up to? Like I want to follow him. What's going on? So I again, I just loved how much this universe is shared and how like you really do at this point. It really is the world's just most expensive TV show. You just have to go watch every little thing. But I love it at the same time.
Yeah, it's really cool how they're seemingly intertwining each of the characters more than they were in the past.
Yeah, it's exactly that because again, it goes back to how casually he just strolled up to Doctor Strange's place, and I'm just like, that's right. Like I almost forgot for a split second that we're in that universe. And another thing too is
and they're both in New York.
Exactly. So like, why wouldn't they cross over? You know what I mean? And another thing too is that what are the implications of Peter messing up the spell, and who does get to remember it, who does forget? Like, will there be a back to normal, or like when these multiverses collide? I mean, is that the new normal, and everyone still remembers or kind of doesn't remember?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I'm sure it's their version of doing like a retcon in their own way, because they are kind of rewriting everything. Like, okay, this now happened, which means now these people get to live in our Peter's universe, and like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Which is cool. I don't know if that's gonna help
unless he doesn't stay in their universe.
Yeah, unless he like kicks them back, and then everyone forgets, and then everything's back to normal.
Right.
I don't know. Like what would you like to see happen?
I want him to stay in the MCU. I don't think.
Who you would like? Who to stay in the MCU?
Wait, what,
you mean like our Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No. I'm saying, what would you like? Okay, I should have phrased the question better. What would you like to see happen to the rogues from the other universes? Is what I meant to say.
Oh, like the Green Goblin.
The Green Goblin, Doc Ock.
Man, I don't know.
Like, would you like them to just be around for this movie, like for the spectacle, and then never come back?
I guess it depends on how big of a role they actually are.
Good point. If it's just like a quick little fight and that's it, just some fan service, that's a good point. How integral are they to the future of our new Spider-Man, of Tom Holland Spider-Man? Man. All right, Big A. we should probably wrap that up. But man, lots to binge on later with this content. I know everyone's gonna be making videos about that. We'll be back after a small break with our review of the movie Reminiscence, and we're back. We're gonna start a review on Reminiscence. Adrian.
Yep. This
movie feels weird calling you Adrian. Going back to Big Apple. Big Apple. Reminiscence. There was a lot going on in this movie, right? If I could describe it in like a couple sentences, I'd say like it's a man going on a journey through time, but not in the traditional sense, like through memories, reminiscence.
Right.
And they have these memory machines in this world, and he's going back to find basically the love of his life, who seemingly walked out on him without a word. You know what I mean? And obviously there's more to it than that. There's a mystery, there's a sci-fi element, there's a romance element, That being said, I don't know if you had any expectations going into this, did you? Or was you kind of clean slate about it?
No, honestly, I've only seen the trailer once prior to watching it, so for me it was I had little to remember before entering into the movie. But,
funny, remember. I'm kidding. No, I hear you. I saw the trailer once, just like you, and I wasn't particularly struck by it. I saw like, oh, okay, like it's an interesting concept, and maybe they'll do a good job, maybe they won't. But Hugh Jackman's in it, can't be that bad. And it wasn't bad. But I did feel like the movie was predictable, a little bit predictable in some areas, particularly with Rebecca Ferguson's as May, as character, like being the seemingly aloof love interest turn damsel, turn bad guy, turn tragic hero. I was like, okay, like I'm all for them having agency, right? Like I loved it. I loved that she wasn't just this bland, stupid character. But I was like, there is so much going on with this character. I'm like trying to keep up. I'm like, all right, cool. So you follow. And I mean, I feel like you could rename the movie Down Bad, bro, because like all these dudes were simping over her. Like Hugh Jackman's going on this little trek, and he's like, yeah, you got burned by her, bro. Man, I got burned by her too. Damn. Like I was like, dude, all right, man. Like she gets around, but like she's got business to do, man. The visuals were lovely. The dystopian flooding of the shorelines, the class wars, the rich barons brought up all the dry land, forcing the lower class in the sunken area. It all tracked for me. Like the world building made sense, right? Like I got it. Also, like, dude, they said war so many times in this movie. The war. I was like, dude, okay, thank you. There was a war. We get it. But it was integral to the plot. I mean, it even saved Nick, who Hugh Jackman plays. It saved his life. Like that guard from the rich baron's place or whatever, like was about to kill him, but then he noticed that tattoo and he's like, oh, you served?
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay, that's a neat little detail. At least that paid off. I was like, and it explains like how he works with guns and he can fight and all that. But the cast was great. I mean, I believed everyone really well, and there was there's this kind of empty feeling that kind of hung throughout the film because it was like a big film about longing and obviously reminiscence, and so that worked really well for me. I mean, was there anything that did or didn't work so well for you, or like what are your?
Honestly, it was pretty hard to follow because
You think so?
There was
Yeah.
a lot to.
It was long.
That was going on.
It was dense.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit dense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some aspects of Nolan from that. I was like, all right, someone's playing with time over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand why you would say that. It actually took me. I don't want to say a couple watches, but I did have to pause it a lot, and I was like, okay, what just happened? Oh, okay. I was like, all right, cool. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Like, I had to take breaks, dude. I was like, all right, it's kind of dense. But Hugh Jackman as Nick Bannister was fantastic. Again, he sold it for me.
He was great.
Even though I wasn't as invested in his crazy infatuation with May, I still believed he believed in his love for her because it seemed like for most of the movie it wasn't reciprocated. I mean, you saw him go through a flurry of emotions. He felt hurt. He felt betrayed. Was it all for nothing? It couldn't have been all for nothing. You know, there has to be a reason why she just up and left one day. And then slowly but surely we get that reasoning. This convoluted like Ocean's 11 almost kind of like mind heist. I was like, but wait. And I was like, oh snap. Okay. All right. So luckily by the end it's revealed May's love for Nick was reciprocated. And I do like how she spoke through Nick through Booth because he didn't know what was going on. Like that bad guy.
Right.
He was like, what? You confessing your love for me? What's going on here? And then, she kisses him. It's so tragic. And he's played by Cliff Curtis, of course. He did a great job. And, you know, tragically, she kills herself to protect this bastard boy's whereabouts. Like this integral boy who's like the bastard son of this rich baron, you know, who slept with someone outside of the family, outside of the estate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then now he's entitled to half or now all of the estate because didn't well, not all, it was still half. The guy just presumably got locked up, right?
I think so.
The son or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't matter. What matters is the love story here. And so I mean, I thought that was, you know, it was cute. And I did think that the memory heist, you know, it worked in this instance. But in the end, when Nick and May are seen together in memory regarding the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, or I think that's how you say it, Eurydice.
I don't know.
It's some Greek name.
Yeah.
And the movie so elegantly ties together the parallels of these two couples, showing Nick's happy ending being continuously looped in the middle of the story, like he told her.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I knew writer and director Lisa Joy was just patting herself on the back. She was like, look at my cinematic circular time plot masterpiece.
Right, yeah.
I was like, bruh. So I looked into her, and she's got a lot of producer and showrunner credits on Westworld, and you've seen Westworld, right?
Right, yeah.
And it deals with like big conceptual things, right? Like you can probably elaborate a little bit. Like what kind of, is it all the same story, or is it like?
It's like multiple characters
Mm-hmm.
within the same world, and
Sure.
they're all like intertwined over the course of the show.
And is it like I heard it's pretty trippy. Like what is some like weird sci-fi elements going on there? Without spoiling too much.
Yeah, it's so they're like AIs.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, so that influence is there. You know, the experience is there with that
Mm-hmm.
that trippiness. So I'm sure like her time working on that contributed to her to making this conceptual film. Like I was saying, I'm pretty sure that contributed to her making this conceptual film. And overall, I think, you know, job was well done. I mean, it was executed, but it might not be everyone's cup of tea. But it was good for what it was.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. But how did you feel about Nick's ending? Like, did you see that coming? Like his little, I don't want to say self-induced punishment, but like he even like had to tell his best friend, whose name I'm blanking on at the moment, but he had to tell her like, look, like I'm glad you're living your life, but you need to take down my confession because I burned someone, which means like making someone relive a really painful memory. You know, it's not pleasant, it's not pleasurable, it's like torture psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to be punished for that. But in doing that, you know, he helped bring down this huge crime that took place. Really, this whole conspiracy with the rich barons and, you know, all this crazy suffering of the townspeople at their hands.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how did you feel about his punishment? Like him, I mean, you feel like he got off easy?
I don't know. So, like, what do you mean?
Well, because
like,
think about it this way.
Easy?
There was a line that I honestly forget her name. I should
know. Watts, right?
Watts. Okay. There was a line that Watts said where burning someone, making someone live like a tragic, torturous memory, is in the eyes of the law in this universe seen as worse than murder.
Oh, are you referring to what's his name? Saint Joe? No.
No. I'm referring to Cliff Curtis Booth. How he tortured Booth. By making him relive the burning memory.
Are you referring to his punishment?
No. I'm referring to Nick, the guy who did it, Hugh Jackman's character. I'm referring to his punishment at the end where he gets to live basically imprisoned in his own mind. But like the happy memories, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you feel like he got off easy? That's what I'm asking you. Like, did you see that ending coming? Because he could have just been thrown in jail, like for the rest of his life, locked up with his own thoughts and a thing. I mean, I thought he got off easy. Like, I mean, because that's all he wanted to do. Like by the end of the movie, especially with her dead, was just like he was a junkie. He was latching on to those good memories, and he essentially got what he wanted at the end of the day.
Yeah, I guess so.
Living forever in those happy thoughts. So I don't know. I didn't really see that ending coming, but I'm like, he got his happy ending. They both did in a way.
Yeah, in a way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it ended on like a bittersweet ending.
It really was. Yeah. So, but hey, real quick, I'm gonna nerd out. Regarding Greek folklore, I noticed that there were parallels between Nick and Orpheus. When Nick, like the very obvious imagery of Nick riding in a boat, when he said, let me just rephrase that. So regarding Greek folklore, I noticed there are parallels between Nick and Orpheus. When Nick, like he was riding into hell, so to speak, to go get May or find out about May, and it's literally like there's an image, you can pull it up and I'll show it on screen. But he says, to find Booth and May, I had to go into hell itself, and it's literally him riding a boat into like I guess the recycled plastics factory, but it's his metaphor for hell. And like in that Greek myth, Orpheus had to go down to hell, and to get to hell in Greek mythology, usually you go down to the river Styx. That's like one of 6 main rivers to get you to the underworld. And like you could see that as a parallel. So I there again, Lisa Joy, stuff in the imagery down your throat, like, hey, I'm smart. And I was like, yeah, I know you're smart, Lisa Joy. So I thought that was cute. That was a cute little Easter egg I wanted to bring up. And whatever. But yeah, I mean, any other thoughts on Reminiscence?
Yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. I just think it could have been more compelling.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, we didn't have too much to go off of, right? Like, like for the first act, we kept jumping back to like, oh, this was a memory. It's like he's coming out of the water. I'm like, all right, Avatar. Like, but I was like, okay, cool. Like, you're super in love with her, great. But like, we almost didn't see enough of their good times together to justify him longing so much. So I wasn't necessarily on board with his little quest. I understood it, sure, but I wasn't really like empathizing too much because I was like, yeah, dude wants her, but like, why?
Yeah.
And I think even Watts called him out, and she was basically, or someone called him out, and it was basically like, you're filling your void. It might have been Booth, but he's like, you're filling your void with these empty memories, and you're trying to put all your brokenness into a girl.
Right.
And like that's what it felt like to me as the viewer. I was like, dude, like, what was so special other than like, other than she knew all his like triggers and his buttons and how to please him.
Right.
But then by the end, we find out she was starting to fall for him too, even though it was a charade or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's really sad. But I hear you though. Like, it was hard. It was almost hard to root for him because you're like, we almost didn't get enough to go off of. We're like, okay, so what? He wants her. What about it? Like, and I think Watt said it something really succinctly. I think Watt said it succinctly. She said basically like, you fell in love with an idea wrapped in like a tight dress. And I was like, bro,
right.
That's what I felt like. I was like, because I didn't see it, so I was like, huh. But anyway, I feel you on that one, Big A. Any other final thoughts?
No, that's it.
That was about it. Yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable, but yeah, it was alright, right, Mikey? It was alright. All right, and we'll take a small break, and right after that, we'll come back with our Marvel What If Episode 2 review. All right, and we're back with our review of Marvel's What If Episode 2. In this episode, we get to take a look at really what life would be like if T'Challa was basically abducted as a boy and didn't grow up to become the Black Panther on Earth, but rather just like Star-Lord with the Ravagers. At first, I was like, okay, how are they going to do this? And then they set it up, and he's playing with the toy or something. Maybe I think he threw a spear outside the bounds of Wakanda, right? Something like that. And then basically the Ravager ship is no longer headed up by Yondu, but rather his subordinates. And he gets picked up as the wrong kid. They even make a joke about it. He's like, does this look like Peter Quill to you?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it doesn't. They're like, it's just a human. It's all the same. 2 eyes. That was funny. But this episode was a huge departure in terms of like how much was different compared to like Captain Carter's episode, because I was like, whoa, like, dude, he pacified Thanos. I was like, what? And like, I loved and I hated how they kind of just brushed past that. So like, he's like, yeah, man, he just made me reconsider it. He's like, there's more than one way to allocate the resources of the universe. And I'm like, what? How?
Yeah.
Like, can you tell me? Because
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
it makes you super interested in what that conversation was.
yeah, like I would rather a whole episode on that encounter rather than everything else that happened. I was like, please tell me how that happened, because I could be wrong, but like, isn't What If supposed to be canon to MCU?
I guess in some degree. I mean, it's kind of like,
because obviously
it's obviously not
our universe, right?
Yeah, the universe that we've been following up to this point. But
it has
I guess it's
happened in the multiverse, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, because that was gonna lead me to my next question, because I was like, well, okay, how come Doctor Strange didn't see that? But that wasn't our universe.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that kind of answers itself in a way. So I was surprised about that. But basically, since that, like it even says here in this article, since Thanos, like his quest for the Infinity Stones, shaped most of our timeline. Well, this rewrites a lot of what we knew. So there's still friction between him and his adoptive daughter Nebula, who has way less augmentative enhancements. And I think we're led to believe that the one she does have is from the Collector, something like that.
Oh,
right?
Is that?
Well, I inferred that, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Long story short, she's like way more human looking, so to speak. She's way less tortured. And so I was like, okay, cool. Like, well, that shows that like history for sure was different. The Guardians of the Galaxy, as we know it, never got together. I mean, Dave Bautista's Drax. Did he voice this one? Was he in it?
No, I don't think he was.
Lame.
I think they got a different actor.
Oh, you know what? I heard that like his agents never told him or something. It like slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, somehow the message got lost.
So sad. But anyway, he's like a bartender now, and I'm like, okay, cool. So that little bit was cute. And they're on this quest, and I mean, the quest is cool. Basically, they have to go like do a triple cross with like the Collector, right?
Yeah.
You have to like get something and some MacGuffin. It's not really important. What was neat was all the Easter eggs and all the what ifs, and we got a lot from Howard the Duck, voiced by Seth Green. Like that was cool. Did. We saw a lot from him, and I was like, all right, more of this, please. I love the sass. I missed that. But yeah, T'Challa's just badass. But going back to the beginning of the episode, how did you feel about Korath being a fanboy of T'Challa and like totally just so willing to like almost turn on Ronan? You know what I mean? He's like, hey, I can't betray him unless you have a job offer for me. Like, you're the best in the universe. And I think it's hilarious how T'Challa as Star-Lord is so competent. Like, because I mean, I don't think even Peter Quill had a real reason to be good at his job. Really?
No, I guess not.
I mean, really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like T'Challa in this universe had a will to see the universe and make a change and all that. And like he had like the drive to be a force for good and all that in the universe. I was like, that's actually pretty cool. It's pretty cosmic of him.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it was just a lot. And was I sensing a romance? There was a romance between him and Karen Gillian's Nebula. Yeah, Cha-Cha, or how would she call him?
Something like that.
She called him something cute. Cha-Cha or something. I was like, okay, all right then. So like just so much was different. And I thought it was weird how casual. There was even like character growth between like Thanos and Nebula by the end when he was like sacrificing himself to let her go. I'm like, how can they fit so much stuff in one little 30-minute episode? Like it really felt like that could have been stretched to a movie in and of itself. Or at least like an hour long, like episode.
Yeah.
But for you, likes, dislikes? I mean, I know I pointed a lot of the big stuff out, but did I miss anything? Or?
No, yeah, I thought it was super cool seeing a completely different story than what we've gotten so far. And I thought that's where the first episode kind of
lacked, right?
Lacked, yeah. It was very safe.
Really safe
with what it was going for.
Yeah, like it was like touching like your toe in the pool, and then this one you jumped right in. You know what I mean? So like there was a huge difference, stark difference, if you would. I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean this one was way more enjoyable. Yeah, with that, those are our big thoughts and takeaways from What If episode 2. Unless I forgot anything. No, I didn't think so. Yeah. It was just a lot of cool things and oohs and ahs and spectacles.
Yep.
But that about wraps up everything we got going on today. For Media Munchers, I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
And we'll see you next time.